Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ubuntu Touch Q&A, episode 37, streamed live on September 28th, 2018. This is the UBports Foundation show discussing the development of Ubuntu Touch and our community's questions. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week are Marius.
Hello.
And special guest for this episode, Ivan.
Hello, everyone.
We're going to get to some of Ivan's huge work in the UBports community and Arch in just a little bit. But first, we have one thing that we want to get out of the way so that we've got more time for that. Florian, along with some of our German community, has organized a hackathon in Vienna on the 20th and 21st of October. Let me get this link in my clipboard. So there's a post in our forum about the event. They're getting together in Vienna at a place called the Metal Lab. And they're going to be working on Telegram Plus, the new Telegram app that works with the Telegram API that they've released. Because the Telegram API is kind of hard to use. And their C++ thing is much better. So they're going to be hacking... And official. That also helps. So they're going to be working on that. I'm going to post a link in live chat. Not that link. Good job. Copy and paste. To the gettogether.community page. They've got a room that'll fit about 15 people, and they're already about 7 or 8. So make sure that you do RSVP if you're going. So that's the 20th and 21st of October at the Metal Lab in Vienna. Sunday afternoon, there might be something like a sightseeing tour or something in Vienna. All right. So I think that takes care of that. If anyone has any questions, just ask them. We'll get to them as we're running through here. Oh, guess who just joined? Hello.
Hello.
We were just talking about your event in Vienna.
That's good. I heard it.
Awesome.
Okay, what can I help you with?
I think we got it here.
Okay.
So let's get right into our guest today. So, Ivan, you've been around the UBports community for quite a while, and you're a bit of a force of nature. There is no stopping you. And you came to us a few months ago and said, I want Unity 8 on Arch.
Yep,
and you made that happen. So we wanted to bring you on today to talk a little bit about Unity 8 on Arch and what's going on and how it is all working out for you.
As you might have known, Unity 8 only ran on Ubuntu 16.04 and Ubuntu 18.04. But what about other distributions? Nobody has ever ran Unity 8 on other distributions that are not Debian-based. And, well, actually, none of them were supported. And today, I'm proud to announce Unity 8 for Arch. You can now install Unity 8 desktop environment on the latest Arch GNU/Linux. You can either install precompiled packages from my personal Arch repository, or you can compile them yourself from the GitHub repository. I will send a link to the instructions to the supergroup in a moment. Let me copy the link. For the instructions, it's still in the alpha stage. Well, not all packages are there. Some packages are half broken. They might misbehave, segfold occasionally, but overall, it's functional. I have a live demo on my laptop. Let me show it to you. Well, there it is.
Yeah, this is the most convenient way we could come up with.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yep. That's my laptop. Let me log in real quick. Here it is. That's Unity 8. You can't see it. That's Unity 8 running on Arch GNU/Linux on a physical laptop from a Chinese manufacturer.
that we won't say the name of because someone gets upset every time we do.
We can't pronounce it. No offense. It's just too hard to do. Most of the default packages like system settings, URL dispatcher are there and available out of the box. Some of them are yet to be packaged. I would like to show you more, but it's really inconvenient to point the laptop at the camera. So I guess you might want to look at the screenshots I posted in the Telegram channel. Marius has also said that there is a possibility that Arch target will be added to the UBports CI after that migration to GitLab, which means it might be officially supported by UBports. And I really hope that will come true. Now let's talk a bit about the implementation details. Unity 8. What?
Ooh, details. One thing that I do, we had some questions about the Mir 1.0 release that came out this week. So I asked you earlier today, and it is helping you out, correct?
Yeah, more on that a bit later, just after I talk about the implementation details. Unity 8 was built for a very outdated target. Well, it's outdated by the means of Arch, because Arch has everything latest. And half of the packages use private APIs that tend to change with every Qt release, which breaks a lot of the imports. And I had to patch a lot of the packages in order to make them compile, let alone to make them work. Most of the patches were upstreamed, but some of them are applied in tree when building the packages because they are not finished yet and they're more of a workaround than a proper patch. There are still some issues that were not fixed properly. I would appreciate any help on them. As a community member, my time is very limited. I'll send a link to the GitHub issue tracker to the supergroup in a moment. Packages are provided via PKG builds. Stable packages are uploaded to the Arch user repository, also known as AUR. I'm still in the process of uploading them because there are a lot and it's a very time-consuming task. What's next, you might ask me? There are plans to also provide 32-bit packages for Arch Linux 32, which is an unofficial project now. And most importantly, wait for it, ARM packages. ARM packages. Helium already supports Arch. It's time to bring Unity 8 on it. Arch Touch is coming soon. TM.
Soon TM. Gotta have the trademark. Well, I have to say this is such amazing news. This is something I could not have dreamt of a year ago. It's just mind blowing. I have to personally thank you very much for this because it's huge. It is extremely huge, and I'm so glad to see that something like this happened. Not even on a non-Debian system. Like it's not Ubuntu Touch had never run on Debian anyway, but it is a non-Ubuntu system, which is huge. You couldn't just take the packages over and build it. You have to build the packaging system and everything for it, and that's amazing. Praise Ivan. Praise Ivan.
Someone get that started in the super group so we can have that spam for a few hours.
Few hours.
Last time it lasted for a few days, if I remember correctly.
Blue text. We also have some people reporting in the supergroup that Mir 1.0 has been packaged for RPM distros. So we're getting this spread around a bit.
There's
the praise, Ivan. There we go.
Well, now as the packages are patched for the latest updates, you can easily build Unity 8 for almost all distributions because there are no distributions that run stuff that's more new than on Arch, basically.
How is that possible?
Yeah, Arch is the king. In case you want to speed up the development of the project by supporting me financially, I have a Patreon that I will link in the super group in the moment. I would really appreciate any help on that. And
I will
now,
take that and put it in YouTube chat. There we go.
Yep.
yeah,
Also
thank
put
you,
it in the description if you don't watch it live.
Thank you,
Oh.
Dalton.
Okay, we're putting that in the description. Actually, I can do that now.
Oh yeah.
And now it's shout out time. I would like to thank Abhishek for the idea of the project. He came up with that idea and I just took over it. I would like to thank Rodney Akadobi for guiding me when I felt lost. He helped me a lot with CMake and compile flags. He also has a Patreon in case you want to support him as well, which would be really cool. And I'll send a link to his Patreon to the chat as well. And also I want to thank Marius and Florian for merging my PRs and motivating me to do that project. Thank you a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. And of course, I want to thank all community members. You guys are awesome. Thank you for your interest in the project. I really appreciate it. And I would like to give a special thanks to Canonical. Without them, this project would not be possible. They adopted Arch as an officially supported distro, and now it's a target they test against. Special thanks to William Wald for patching me for Arch. I would not succeed in doing that myself. Thank you a lot.
That was that was awesome. And I'm happy to see Unity 8 grow to other distros, continue to be usable. And maybe I need to install Arch soon. I mean, I do have this XPS over here that needs some new software on it.
Question from my side would be maybe of interest for some people that think in the same way that I do now. Is there any way that we can leverage this to use it for let's say SDK or app development in the future? As being on a non-native distro, of course, means we miss a lot for what we normally need. But could there be a way to say, okay, there is a, let's say, you just install this on a spare machine or in a virtual machine, and then you have a fully fledged SDK, something like this with all the build tools and so on. I'm just thinking loud, because the thing is that what we really miss at the moment is something that is a one-click. You install this, and you have a complete workbench for developing for Ubuntu Touch. This is something that many people would like to have, and now there are many ways to, let's say, you can use cross builder, you can use clickable, you can roll your own thing, but maybe somebody would be motivated to dive into this and say, okay, this is a full desktop environment that works, even if it's not Ubuntu, but maybe we could use it also for SDK. I mean, it's just a challenge, maybe.
That's a nice idea, and actually it's related to Libertine in a way, because what should we do on non-Ubuntu distros with those Ubuntu-bound components, like SDKs that are provided in a form of LXD images that are based on Ubuntu, Libertine containers that are basically just Ubuntu roots. There is an open issue on GitHub about that. I'm open to the discussion. Maybe we should containerize Ubuntu parts, because, well, an Ubuntu root on a large machine, why not? It works. But maybe we should rethink the idea of those components and maybe rebuild them for each distro independently. Maybe we should provide SDK builds based on Arch as well. There are a lot of options, and there are currently discussions going on the GitHub repository. We should maybe move those discussions to the UBports forum, so more people will be able to give their opinions on that topic.
Yeah.
Well, actually, just adding to that, I think you have done most of the work to actually be able to have an SDK. Most of the SDK component is needed for Unity 8 itself to build. So technically, you are far on the way to. well, you don't need a full SDK to build some applications. But the thing also is not only you could build to Ubuntu Touch in this way, but also one SDK you will be able to build both for Arch and for Ubuntu Touch with the same source. Of course, we have to rebuild it with toolchain version, etc. But SDK and the API should stay equal on those, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
Well, this project is in alpha state again. I'm open to ideas. So
Yeah,
let's
that's
see where it ends. Let's see
why
where
I
it
come
ends.
up with this. When it's finished, it's too late for new ideas. So this is the fire starting here. Of course, Rodney is right. He says it runs, but works is a bit short of reality. Okay, that's clear. But I think the community now is really getting to move into various ideas we never thought before that would be of interest. So like they started this before with these Raspberry Pi things, or with this Minecraft on Ubuntu Touch. There are a lot of crazy ideas that turn out really to be feasible, and that's why I got interested in this now. So yes, please come to our forum and put the discussion there. It's really nice then, because there are a lot of also of, let's say, users or not so developer people that want to participate, and that's the easiest way for them to go to the forum, yeah? And to just read maybe, and also to give some feedback on this. Yeah? But yes, also thank you from my side, and I always enjoyed merging your stuff, because most of the time I look into this and I say, okay, I don't really know if it will work, because I cannot really replay it here on my side. Yeah, I also have not the build environment, but looking at the code, it seems to be more or less okay. So, okay, I give you some, let's say, credits for this before we just merge and see what happens. And basically, it seems not to break anything. So,
yeah, unfortunately, I broke Unity Scopes API once.
Okay, yeah. Let alone this.
But just one time. Just one time. I apologize for that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not a real committer until you break the entire image.
Exactly.
At least once.
Dalton.
Just quiet. Oh, so the link to Unity 8 for Arch, the GitHub repository, will be in the video description. It is now, actually, so you can, if you're watching live, you can refresh the page to get to that. But that'll all be down there for your viewing pleasure. So we kind of wanted to, with this, make a theme this week of things the community has done, rather than the things that we have done. Because a lot of the time we just talk about the four on the program here, what we've done. But there's so much more happening in the community that it's really amazing to see, and we need to give everyone credit where credit is due. So let's start with the Ubuntu Touch showcase that we ran a couple of months ago. The blog post has come out detailing all of the submissions that we've gotten, and you can find those on our Nextcloud. The post is on our blog. And I just kind of wanted to show off some of the submissions that we've gotten real quick here, so that we're able to just show what all of our community is doing. If I can get this open with the image viewer, someone's going to make a comment about my desktop environment. I can feel it coming. There we go. So this is just for the video audience while we're here. I won't take too long on it.
I still see Dalton, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to press the right buttons. Trust me, I do this every week for 37 episodes now. So you just got a few, quite a selection here. Oh no.
Desktop environment.
Yeah, it's GNOME. Everyone's going to be afraid.
It's not GNOME.
Budgie, actually, but you can find some of the submissions that we have here. I really loved seeing all of these submissions coming in. So to everyone who submitted them, thank you so much. You can find all these submissions along with their license at our blog, and that's ubports.com. You can find the news link. Just going through these quick here. This is probably my favorite one. This one with the paintbrushes. And it's taller. Okay, so that'll do that.
Oh,
Don't want to spend too long on that. So
super pretty.
yes, thank you to everyone who's been submitting those.
Can we include some of those in the images also, or what's the plan?
That is exactly what I'm working on right now.
Okay, sorry, I think I focused myself. Now you're back. Okay. So that's the trigger. That would be cool, because then the people don't need to download this separately. It's just a fresh appearance, fresh look with the next OTA or so. That would be cool.
Sorry, puppy. She likes to cry. We have... So yeah, I'm working on getting those on the image right now. It's a little weird with how Ubuntu's package works for that, but yesterday I got the sounds package building, so that's for ringtones and notification sounds. So that's all going to be coming up. Yep.
Oh. You should have shown some of the ringtones, but I'm not sure if that's so easy.
I don't think I can do that in Hangouts.
No.
I don't, and I don't have a soundboard or any professional audio setup here.
Well, you could do some pulse magic if you had 4 million hours to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't.
Exactly.
Let's see. Once again, thank you to everyone who's been submitting those. And if you want to continue to submit those, that's all right. They can be included on boundaries of OTAs. And what I'll do is when I get the wallpapers repository up, I will include instructions on how to add more wallpapers to it. So that should be all done and dusted there. In other community news, the community continuation maintainership of Deco 2 is really heating up lately. That's at gitlab.com/Dekkan, Dekkan. I'll post that link here. Yes, that one. And they've had a few releases now at the tags page, which I guess I'm posting 2 links now. Right now, they're only shipping as clicks rather than with the in the open store, simply because the owner of the app isn't currently available. But I think they're trying to bring it into the store. They're trying to get that all sorted out. And seeing this first come to 1604 in the first place without its main maintainer was neat. And now seeing it continue to evolve and become better on 1604 has also been awesome. So thank you to everyone who's been working on that. Hummelbach and Donix and everyone who's over there working on that right now. We also have another app this week that kind of ties in with some of our questions, so I wanted to mention it as well. It's been brewing for about a year, and I think they're getting close to releases. And that is LinPhone, which is a SIP phone and phone provider. So if you have a SIP provider that gives you a number on a VoIP network, you'll be able to use that with LinPhone. And that has been getting better with lots of beta clicks and everything that you could possibly want from them. Joan in the live chat, I've never pronounced it out loud before, and I kind of regret doing that. Hi to Joan.
Hey.
And thank you for your work on that. Joan, actually, we should talk. I hope I'm pronouncing Joan right. Cybersheep works a lot on design and artwork for Ubuntu Touch. So, for example, the banner that you see in the open store right now for Fluffy Chat, I believe she designed that. Along with, she was there helping with the new icon for oh boy, I've really messed up now, haven't I? Working on the external devices icon for Cyborium, which is in the image as well. So lots of things coming in from our community. And Yes, Lin Phone, primarily released by Brian Douglas, also the creator of the Open Store. Huge help from everyone for all of this. Continuing right on, running through all of our community news, we have Marty, who has been working on QtPim, which is the personal information manager backend through Qt. He's been just hammering fixes in on that this past couple of weeks. Since it turns out it actually does a few things for us, including the calendaring system, the alarm system, and everything that you kind of want in a phone. Contacts integration. So he's been working on all of that for making the upgrade happen, and showing a lot of help there. That's all I have for community news this week, I think. Unless anyone else has anything to add here.
By the way, QtPim was also broken on Arch. And I had to patch it. It's really great to see it getting fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, Mandy.
And thank you to all the beta testers on Devil channel that noted us that the alarm wouldn't go off anymore. So sorry if you overslept a few times in the last 2 weeks. But now I think this bug has been fixed. It's of course clear that it can happen in Devil, but this one is super annoying because nobody expects it to happen. It was not obvious that this would happen. So yeah, but that's community feeling.
Yeah, with alarm, it's often too late when you notice it. So,
am I the only person who wakes up before my alarm goes off?
yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
Okay.
One exception. When I have to get a flight at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock, and I have to be on the airport, and then I put 2 alarms to be sure, and then I always wake up before both alarms go off. So I'm so super nervous that I cannot sleep all. But this is the only exception. Normally, the alarm clock needs 10 minutes to wake me up. I would.
Oh,
say.
that is so true. When I set on 2 alarms and I was like super scared that it won't go off, then I always wake up before. It's interesting that you said it because that's exactly the same as I noticed.
I think I did that when I was going to Rotterdam. That was the first time I've ever traveled. First time on an airplane. So yeah, I was a little nervous. Luckily, there was no one in the airport. It was basically dead.
Oh.
Yeah. Easy to get through security that way.
Well.
Okay. So, thank you to everyone who's supporting us through PayPal, Patreon, or Bitcoin, or however else you prefer, including LibrePay or PayPal. I said PayPal already. You can find all of the ways to donate to us on ubports.com/donate. And we'd also like to extend a huge thank you to our sponsors, including DigitalOcean. I lost my train of thought. DigitalOcean, Private Internet Access,
and Smooth.
And Packet.net, who is providing our ARM server, 64-core ARM64 server. That thing is kind of bonkers. That's what runs our Jenkins infrastructure that everyone can use a pull request and get their builds with.
It's build our world. Everything that you see on a phone is built on that. Mostly.
Except the things that Ubuntu build, or Canonical build.
Yeah. So mostly. The thing that you can see is definitely built by that server.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So moving right along, we are really flying today, are we not? We have our questions for the hour. And what would the Q&A be without them? So we have a great roundup of questions. These come in from the forum and from live chat. And you can find our forum at forums.ubports.com if you want to ask a question. The post for this Q&A comes up between Monday and Wednesday, the week of the Q&A. So the first question we had, and this has come in several times in the past weeks, is what's going on with the foundation? So Jan is normally the one to answer these questions since he's the one who's here. But he's not here, so I asked him. He gave me a text answer. So with the foundation, progress is being made, but it's slower than we would prefer. The statutes and all the legal documents are all in place, ready for filing, but they kind of get kicked back and forth and government stuff. At the moment, we're revising the business plan, and the problem with that is things have changed since it was first written, which was late 2016. We've had some new agreements with sponsors and further support, so that all has to be worked into the plan that we file with the government. Most of the business plan is kind of an informal description of the community, the projects that we make, and it also has detailed information about our financial strategy, so we really have to get that one right. So that's being worked on as we speak. Jan might be working on it right this very minute. You never know.
Okay.
I'm going to review his text tomorrow. So there is a deadline, and tomorrow we'll have the final text, hopefully in German. So I have to review it in German because we have to file everything in German, of course. No international language is allowed, and that makes it hard for anybody else to check. So
that's why it takes so long.
Thank you. Yes, because in German everything is just longer. You have to express it with 1 words. In English, it would be maybe only 50% of text. Okay. Oh, where does this lead? I mute myself again.
Okay, we got another
dog.
Yeah, take the dog.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we got another question here from Barnov. Sorry if I butchered your name there, but Barnov. Okay, what's going on with Helium? There is a lot of things going on with Helium at the same time. I think that's the problem. Is it's so many moving parts there that you can't really follow the process going on there, and most of it happens inside of the Telegram group, which is kind of a bummer. We should spread it out on news channels more, but most of it hacks inside at the brewing group. But what's been happening is a lot of new devices have been coming up. A lot of new devices. We have the ones that support Ubuntu Touch is also getting bigger and bigger, but there's even bigger ones that support Helium in general. So let me actually pull up the list that I had with the different devices we had. So let me quickly go through this list. HTC 10, OnePlus 3, OnePlus 5, Xiaomi Redmi 2, Xiaomi Mi 3, Gemmi PDA, OnePlus 2, Samsung Galaxy G5 2016, BQ acquires U+, Sony Z5, and more Sony-based devices. Sony S3 Neo, Sony Xperia X, Xiaomi Redmi 3S and 3S Prime, Moto 3 Plus, Samsung Galaxy Pitme, I don't know what device that is, and Nexus 6. So that is quite a big list. And I think I'm also surprised to actually open this again, and it's even longer than last time I checked. So actually a lot of stuff is going on. I think that's the final answer to this. But at the same time, we have components that needs work. We have a lot of infrastructure and architectural changes to do to be able to support Helium fully. Like, give an example, the building of Helium, we want to have the build process automatic, for example. But we also want to be able to use Qt sensors and sensor FW, which is the upstream that Sailfish uses. We want to move away from platform APIs, for example. We want to try to use Droid Media and also use Qt location service with GeoClue instead of using the Ubuntu location service. So there's a lot of changes there we want to make to be able to support all of Halium's devices, and also be able to support them quicker without needing to change our components to be able to support our device. We want to use upstream device or upstream code, at least something that's maintained, and closer together, work together with the team that does essentially the same as we trying to achieve. And this way, we really hope to be able to have a quick turnaround time from when you port a device to when it's functional. We want to have some changes there to make it not easier to port, but to make it quicker to port, because it will be hard to make it easier because the porting like how you have to port is already hard, and we tried at best to make that easier. And we probably can make it even easier, but for now we want to focus on making everything work and making quicker turnaround time. And once we get on that, we can then work on getting things a lot quicker and faster to get moving. We hope that Treble will help with us with getting this on an easier, where you mostly just change out the devices, which is what they promise. But we have to see and implement that before we can say if that's how it should work. Anyone else want to have input on that? I take that as a no.
Nope.
Nope. Next question. Next question comes in from Visha. WSHA. Visha. What are the security implications of using an old Android kernel? This is a hard question. Of course, there is security implication of using an old Android kernel, and this is not really something we can do much about, since the Android kernel comes from the manufacturers, and as long as the manufacturer haven't upgraded the Android kernels, we could of course re-engineer it and make it ourselves. But I think that's something we have to do for a device we know will have a long-term support, because that's such an expensive and time-consuming job to do. It's extremely hard to do something like that, especially when we don't have anyone in the community that works with kernels, as far as I know. I, for example, I don't do much kernel work, so I don't have the knowledge to do it. And if I would try to do something like that, I would use a lot longer time than someone that knew. So this is something we have to do, as I said, for a long-term device. So doing that for the devices that we already exist right now is not something we can do. First of all, the kernel wouldn't be done before that device was end of life, because like getting it to boot is not the problem, but to get every component to work and every binary blobs to work with it, to get everything to work smoothly, to make everything from sleep mode to camera to GPS. So to getting it to boot itself is not that complicated, but it's everything around it to get the APIs to align. Since Qualcomm doesn't make newer kernel for these devices, we can simply just take Qualcomm's upstream kernel and put it on this one, because we have too old of devices. So again, of course, there is security implication, but we try to patch this as good as we can. We follow upstream to be able to, even though there isn't much coming from upstream, the Android world is sadly that they make a kernel and they leave it. And that's the sad truth. And some manufacturers don't do this, not all of them, but most manufacturers make the kernel and leave it, and it's a security hole forever. And yeah, anyone else want to input on that?
I mean, backporting of certain patches could be possible, but it's also very time consuming. And as Mario said, when we have more resources looking at that, maybe it could be an option for one or two really, let's say, big things. But in general, it's also the thing that the new phones come out, old phones are of course for the companies a little bit of a burden, because they can support everything endlessly. But it would be good if they have some kind of plan that at least when they are not going to deliver any updates anymore. So that you can say, okay, this is something like a supported time frame for 5 years or so, or for maybe 6 years and so. But at the moment, of course, most of our hopes are in independent devices, in open source devices, that there are some developments like we always talked about Librem 5 already. This is something that would change this game a lot, because for this, there would be easier kernel patches possible. But until then, of course, we can just call people that are interested in kernel development to help us with some backports here and then. But there are so many security advisors coming out nearly every day or every week. So to follow this can be really hard if you're not upstream. I mean, if we cannot just take these patches that are prepared for our kernels from Canonical, from the big distro, and we have to prepare everything ourselves, it's really not so easy. So yeah, if somebody is interested in kernel patching, let's go. But I'm not skilled enough for that job.
And that's part of the thing too, is we're not Canonical.
Yeah.
While Canonical had the Ubuntu Touch project, they were issuing patches to their devices, not our devices, but their devices. So the BQs and the Meijus, their security team was working on those, and unfortunately, we just don't have the manpower for that.
Well, they still had old kernels. They didn't have.
Correct.
They still
They were
Yeah.
supporting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know some people from the Android dev community, and what they usually do is they cherry pick commits from upstream kernel source, from kernel.org, and then they try to compile the kernel. Unfortunately, they get a lot of merge conflicts due to vendor-specific changes on some devices, but, well, that's fairly easy to do, and I think that's better than just having an old and outdated kernel. I think every minor version counts, as it has important security fixes. You can't consider that backporting because you're just basically cherry-picking commits from upstream. I guess that's small upgrading. And some people have done that with Halium, some of my friends, and this has been really successful before, so I guess we should consider that option.
Yeah, this is something that I do expect to come more of once we support Halium more and get a more stable Halium base. But also, once we move quicker with newer devices, there's a lot of interesting things coming from Qualcomm, and a lot of upstream patches from Qualcomm going to upstream Linux kernel. So maybe in the future we will see Qualcomm devices running on master branch of Linux kernel, which would be extremely cool. But that's probably a long stretch, since Qualcomm is probably just doing that on some of the components.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think we've done that. Another question that we had from the forum. That Rin asked, is it possible to add Wi-Fi calling to Ubuntu Touch? I did a bit of research on this before we came on today. It looks like the Wi-Fi calling standard isn't really a standard, and it kind of differs for every carrier, at least in the States.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And devices have that code in the device tree, or possibly in the firmware partition. I'm not entirely clear on that. But it looks like it is kind of a bit of a hack, and in some ways, like for the Nexus 5X, I put Lineage on that. Verizon doesn't let me enable Wi-Fi calling on that, so I'm not able to check if it even supports it. So
Of course.
it's kind of a mess. But Lineage does support it. So that's interesting for us because that means that we could support it.
Reverse
So
engineering.
to the person who answered that question, that Rin, it should be possible. So if you want to go ahead and look into that, it should work. There's also the common question about voice over LTE support. It's kind of the same story there, except voice over LTE is actually becoming a standard.
Yeah, just reiterating on that. It should work with Lineage. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Voice over LTE was implemented in MERS, a phone of fork, if I remember correctly. If they upstream their patches, it might be possible to use it when Hubris 15.1 is the thing.
But voice over LTE, isn't that a different technology, or is that
It's
the same?
different. I mention it
Yeah,
because
it's a
I
different
have a lot
technology.
of questions about that too.
Okay.
Yeah, when? Walter, when?
Support when?
Yeah, support when. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that does both of those. Well, the kernel question, actually, I wanted to come back to circle around to that. We had Zen2 in the live chat mentioned that he's working on Unity 8 for post-market.
Ooh.
And post-market OS is a project to aim for a 10-year life cycle on phones. At least that's what they build themselves as. And what they're doing is they're working on upstreaming current phone drivers and reverse engineering them so that they can be on the upstream kernel.
Let me interrupt you for a moment, Dalton.
Yes.
Actually, post-market OS runs on Alpine Linux, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And Alpine Linux uses APK builds. APK builds, yeah. And they're very similar to Arch's PKG builds. So the person who's working on that got in contact with me, and it's possible that he might reuse some of my work for Arch for post-market.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that we're able to share that. APK build. Okay.
Yep.
Alpine does have its quirks, Alpine and post-market, because they are using muscle libc rather than GCC. So that's a bit of a can of worms. But for the work that they're doing to bring these devices, reverse engineer them, get them into the upstream kernel is incredibly important, and I hope that we see more success there. Because Hybris is nice for the performance that it brings and the support that it brings, but in a lot of ways it is a pain.
A hack or a pain.
And it's a huge pain. Let's glibc, not GCC. That is correct. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just to also explain a little bit better what the difference between those would mean for someone not so tech savvy. With libhybris, you reuse the existing binary blobs from Android, so you have pretty much support for everything that Android supports in the hardware layer. But post-market OS removes that and just do everything the GNU Linux way, as through with the Linux APIs from the kernel. Of course, that would mean that you don't have support for GPS and those things that are closed source without needing to reverse engineer them. So that's the difference with them. That's why we use libhybris, because we have to have support for everything to have a phone, but this is a project trying to remove that. So.
And I've been following the project quite a bit. It does look very interesting. So let's hope that keeps going. I think that there is someone kind of working on the Hybris stuff in post-market, but I'm not sure that project is gone since the last time we heard about it. Zen2 is correct. Alpine isn't really GNU Linux. It's more like BusyBox or POSIX Linux, but semantics. Let's see. I think we can wrap. I think that's a wrap, unless you guys see anything else. Okay.
Nope, I don't think so.
Well, that's excellent. So thank you, everyone, for joining us for the UBports Ubuntu Touch Q&A. And thank you, Ivan, for being here with us. It was great to have you.
Great that you stayed awake for this event, because it's even later than in Russia than here in my place. And here's already dark.
Yep, it's 11 p.m.
Yeah,
7 p.m. in Moscow.
Okay.
Funny to note,
okay.
normally we move the time of this back and forth between 1900 and 1800 UTC, depending on summertime between Europe and America. But we forgot to do that this year, and at this point, I'm kind of afraid to change it. So we're just kind of going with it.
Yeah, it will be earlier for now, though, so that's good. Back to normal.
I'd like to extend this invitation. If anyone in our community does want to come on and talk about what they're doing, we certainly want to hear them. Because this program, just being me, Marius, Jan, and Florian, is... I mean, we're all great, but our community is better. Well, I'm sorry. What did I say?
Hey!
No, let's phrase it differently. We just want to have some time to host people here and to include more of a message here, because it's nice if you read in a forum or on GitHub or somewhere, but if you have a face and a voice with the guys here, then this contributes to knowing each other better. And I think this is a great chance. And it cannot be, let's say, everything counts, even if it's just a small thing. Yeah, just ping us if you want to show off something. It's no problem. We're happy to accept anyone here on our live chat.
Oh, my network.
And that's Norway. We lost Norway and US maybe also, no? Well, you're back.
Maybe Google went down. Anyway. Well, I guess whatever Marius was saying isn't important enough, so we're just going to continue on. You're back.
Is network dead?
Hi, Pure Tryout. Hi, Pure Tryout. Hi. The post-market OS guy. Hello.
Oh.
You just noticed that we're live.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
My network dies. I have no idea what's going on. But I just wanted to extend on what we said before, is that, yeah, it would be amazing to have someone else on also. It can be understandable that it's a little bit boring with just the common faces. But at the same time, yeah, it would be cool. Just ping us and we will have you on.
Indeed. So that'll wrap it up. Thank you again, everyone, for watching the Ubuntu Touch Q&A or listening. You can find us on many places: UBports.com, @UBports on Telegram, #UBports on Freenode IRC if you want to get in touch. We're also on Riot or Matrix, #UBportsMatrix.org. We're also
Google
on
Plus.
Google Plus. There's an HTC 10 running Ubuntu Touch, by the way.
Yep.
Ooh. I
It's
have
running
one
it live. I just flashed it while we were live.
You can find us on our social networks: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+, Mastodon, and Diaspora. Whew. And just keep watching here. Subscribe if you want to get alerts for when we'll be live next, or when we post neat video content. We do that from time to time. You can leave a like if you want to do that, or leave a comment if you want to give some feedback. And we will see you all in the next one.
Всем пока. Всем спасибо. Всем пока.
Bye. Bye-bye. Tschüss.